Welcome back to an in-depth playthrough of Pathways into Darkness. Today we will be going through the floor I'd rather be surfing. I personally would rather be surfing than stuck in this pyramid, and Mary Kate and Ashley would agree with that. So in the last video we ended at this save ruin on the right side of Lasiet Ogne Spradza Volsciantre. So we're going to go up to this ladder and travel down to I'd rather be surfing. Now once we go down this hallway, there's a couple sets of doors, these two set of doors and these two set of doors. Once we get to the doors, they'll open and we'll have enemies on both sides of us, and these gas, which are annoying. But anyways, this door right here will remain locked and we can't get through it. It'll actually be opened from the other side on our way back up the pyramid. Anyways, after you open these doors, it's now safe to use the Easter egg, because the Easter egg will take you to the last floor and that will allow you safe passage back out, because this door does not open from the other side if you use the Easter egg too early. This information that you had to open this door was actually in the IMG Hints, Tips and Tricks by Sandy Kettenhofen and Tensor Denise in 1994. Alright, so we're going to travel along. We got an intermediate save rune, which is nice. Then we'll come back around down here and travel down this hallway and grab the clear blue potion along the way. This hallway is kind of a pain. You do not want to run down because there's all these monsters on both sides. So just take your time traveling down and then come on up. And then once you get to here, we're just going to come around here and then we're going to take a right. I mean, you can go take the save rune. There's really no reason for us to fight these additional enemies. So we're just going to come around to this room right here. This room is known as the Suffocation Room, and we'll talk about it when we get there. We also will talk to Pedro and take his AK-47. Pedro is a Cuban. He's the first Cuban we meet. And we'll talk more about that. After we get through the Suffocation Room, we'll take the ladder on the way up to Warning Earthquake Zone, and then we'll save on this save rune and save this mission for next time. Alright, here we are. Let's do this real quick. So we're gonna get low on MP41 ammo, but there's really no reason for us to make more because we're gonna get the AK-47. Once we get the AK though, we won't get any ammo right away, but ammo will be soon to follow. So these doors, as soon as they start to open, you can shoot. So you can take your grenade launcher and just go bam and get a free shot at them. We're just gonna let them out. I'm not sure whether it's better just to run into one of the rooms or just because like in this hallway and you can't really hit them. There's also a skitter around this corner up here, I think. He's not coming out. Anyways, maybe he just spawned the other time. So this is the locked door. Oh, hello there. This is the locked door that we will open on our way back up the pyramid. This will be where we come back up. Here's another sentinel. Here's another set, one more set of 2 locked doors. So we'll do the same thing. We'll just kind of back up a little bit and they'll be coming. The only thing I don't like is I can't really dodge them. Anybody else? Alright, let's back into this room and save it over here. We might get attacked, but we're good. There we go. So we made it here. Might be gas that comes out, but if we run, we'll be fine. As long as you can spot the gas, they're no problem. But sometimes they're like behind a bunch of enemies and you can't hit them. Okay. Now this is the long hallway right here. So don't dodge into their attacks like I did. But basically what you need to do is take your time Take your time with it because there's just a lot of enemies. I'm just gonna kind of zigzag, I guess. They kind of like, I don't know how they do it. They seem to like come behind you. The problem is like I'm moving so much like sideways. I'm afraid that they're gonna spawn behind me. There's a spot where there's like 3 in a row. I believe the enemy earthquakes only hit 7 sectors also, because I notice sometimes it'll be so far away that the earthquake won't even hit me. Okay, we're getting towards the end of this hallway. Get my gun to line up with him. Okay, we still got 2 magazines left, which is plenty. Their attacks are actually kind of hard to dodge because they are so fast. Okay. I kind of know the route to get through here, so kind of keep going like that till you get to that dead end. Okay, here's the door to the suffocation room that will open when we get up there. But there's some enemies in here, so we're gonna cheese them. There we go. So here's the suffocation room. So first thing I want you to notice is when you come here, look at the top left of the message window. Okay, the door's closed and it says, uh-oh. So what happens is after both the doors closed, so now there's no more oxygen. So after 3 hours, the doors will open and we'll be able to get out. However, we're gonna run out of air in here in 2 hours. So what are we gonna do? If you die in here from suffocation, you'll get this message. As the air gets more and more stale, you finally pass out. You have died of suffocation. Now, this is kind of a puzzle, but the trick is we have an item that can help with this. It's the red cloak. If you remember, the red cloak, you know, passed time quicker around us. So basically, you know, what might be 3 hours, you know, in game time, for us, it'll seem like only an hour and a half. So therefore we can, you know, survive long enough, you know, have enough air to survive this. It's just kind of interesting. It's like the red cloak, you know, causes us to use less oxygen, I guess. I don't know. So this is, if you step out this guy, it just says you see a dead person. Anyways, before we talk to him, let's just grab some of his stuff. No, I'm not on him. So it doesn't really tell us what he is, but he has an AK-47 assault rifle. Now, we can't look at the AK-47 in our inventory, but I'll put the image on the screen for you. This is actually the last gun we will get. Here's the weapon description. The AK-47 is a Soviet-built assault rifle. Its magazines hold 37.62mm rounds fired at 600 rounds per minute. It hits nearly twice as hard as the German MP-41. The official handbook says, these are the weapons of choice for the Cuban explorers. There's actually also an unused melted AK-47 within the game code, and here's what the description for that weapon is. This AK-47 was exposed to very high temperatures or a large electrical field. Either way, its moving parts are all fused and the weapon is worthless. Now, could this weapon have originally been on Needlelight or the Labyrinth, meaning that the Cubans were originally going to be there? Makes you wonder whether Bungie changed the game a little bit. Anyways, there are also 3 types of weapons for the AK-47, much like the grenade launcher. Here's our standard rounds. This is a magazine of a 7.62mm round for the AK-47. The official handbook says, AK-47 magazine, plain old run-of-the-mill AK-47 rounds. They do plenty of damage compared to other guns, but not nearly as much as the grenade launcher. I personally prefer the AK-47 over the grenade launcher just because, you don't have to wait that large amount of time in order to reload. That doesn't mean the grenade launcher doesn't have its place, especially with the fragmentation grenades that can hit a large group of enemies at once like I've been showing you. Next, the AK-47 has the Sabot magazines. This is a magazine of a Sabot armor-piercing 7.62mm round for the AK-47. A Sabot is basically a supportive device that fits around a bullet that keeps it centered in the barrel. Here's what the official handbook says, the AK-47 Sabot magazine. These do the same amount of damage as the regular rounds, but these are armor-piercing, which is good against the greater nightmares. Once you have one of these, you don't need the regular rounds. Use Sabot rounds on everything if you don't have HE rounds. If you do have the HE rounds, use them on everything except the greater nightmares. Alright, next we got the HE magazines. This is a magazine of the HE high explosives 7.62mm round for the AK-47. The official handbook says AK-47 HE magazine. These aren't armor piercing, but they do more damage than any other bullet. Don't forget to switch back to the Sabot rounds when you see a greater nightmare, or you can pair both the AK-47 and the M79. Load one with armor piercing and the other with HE or fragmentation and switch whenever you need to. Personally, I think the AK-47 is, like I said, is better in most scenarios than the grenade launcher. So the AK-47 to level up, it takes 12,000 damage and then 30,000 damage to get, to novice and to expert respectively. And the damage is, it's not crazy larger for the high explosive rounds, but there is a pretty big difference. So the HE rounds are definitely nice, but on the most part, we'll probably be making a lot of Sabot rounds because there's going to be a lot of armor-piercing enemies. Or I should say armor-piercing resistant enemies. Alright, so let's equip this yellow crystal so we can chat with Pedro. As you can see, before we talk to him, he has blood on the ground. You can kind of see, it looks like maybe there's some blood on his neck and his chest. So keep that in mind. I know what's going to happen now. You're going to suffocate here, just like me. The doors won't open for hours. Okay. He has a second intro after the doors open, so we'll talk to him again after the doors open. Let's ask him about his name. My name is Pedro. How did you die? His death, if I can type. I was trapped here like you and suffocated. It was very painful. You should consider the alternatives. What does he mean by alternatives? I'll leave that up to your imagination. Now, considering that he's lying in a pool of blood, do you think that Pedro committed suicide? Or perhaps some monsters came and killed him after he suffocated? So we're trapped, huh? Somehow my companions got through before the door shut, but I was trapped inside. That would suck. Let's ask him about his companions. I was the last in line of 6 men, and the door slammed shut right as I was about to pass out of the room, trapping me. They tried. I heard them, but there was no way to open the door. Alright, let's ask about the door. Long after you used up all the oxygen in this tiny room, the doors were... Long after you've used up all the oxygen in this tiny room, the doors will open. Just like they did after I died. They will open and wait for someone else. It's like a death trap. It would suck for his fellow soldiers who couldn't save him, So that's about the men. I can only remember Juan, who was slowly dying of a snake bite in the jungle. Javier, and Carlos. So we know there's at least 3 other Cubans. He said there's 6. So we'll be able to meet some of these other Cubans later on. Let's ask about Juan. Juan got bitten by a snake none of us recognized in the jungle a day before we found the pyramid. He slowly got worse and worse, but he outlived me. Since Juan got bitten by a poisonous snake by the sound of it, let's ask about Javier. Javier was the leader of our little group. It was his idea to come here. What about Carlos? I didn't know Carlos very well. And then for random responses, you'll say, what? And I don't understand you. So how do I know this guy is Cuban? Well, there are several sources that confirm this. I already showed you the official handbook that told us that the AK-47s were the weapon of choice of the Cuban explorers. Later on, we will get a gas mask that says it is of Cuban manufacturer. In the game coding, their corpses are labeled as CUBN, which clearly is short for Cuban. In demo version 1.0, there is an item description for a backpack that doesn't exist in the final version of the game. It says, this backpack is of Cuban manufacturer and is large and sturdy. Jason Jones also referred to them as Cubans in several different email correspondence with fans. Alright, so we're going to talk to him after we wait out here. So it's about 8:24. So we got the red cloak on. So about 11:24, 11:20, the doors will open. Right now we're duplicating fragmentation grenades, so we're going to end up with a lot of them. So make sure before you rest here that you switch to a weapon that you want to some ammo that you want to duplicate. Alright, so it's going to open here in a minute. There we go. So you can hear it open. You guy will keep resting, but you just stop resting. So now we have 41 fragmentation cartridges, which is awesome. Let's talk to him again and get a second intro. I don't understand how you can still be alive. I just don't understand. Okay, so let's go take off this red cloak. And we can, so it says, worn. Okay, let's throw that away. We don't need this red cloak anymore. Where's our bag? Red rev bag. Okay, get rid of that out of our inventory. There's one less thing to worry about. Okay, now we can continue on. So we're going to the next floor, and there'll be like a few gas we gotta kill before we can finish the mission and save it. Luckily, we have plenty of grenades. We'll just save it, we'll just rest right here, then we'll save, and then that'll be it for this video. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time on this floor. You guys have a good one.